$700 million.
Wow.
This is monthly, okay?
Yeah.
So anybody ever tells you that our market is too small or you can't do, not enough business around for me or whatever.
Yeah.
$700 million worth of houses just changed hands over the last month.
And is that residential or is
this is all the MLS listings.
Nice, so very good.
That doesn't even include off market,
right?
Yeah,
right.
So you add off market on there. Say it's 30% of all sales.
Yeah. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, that's $1 billion
for sure.
A month.
For sure, that's pretty good for a little secondary market. Yeah. Great day. It's your boy Sawan Belcher. This is me taking action. I'm a full-time real estate investor, and today I'm bringing on my guy Kirby. Okay, he's a local realtor and investor. Okay, so and I like this because most of the time it's the versus. Most people are looking at it as like investor versus realtor. I hate you, you hate this, but he's on both sides of it. And I just really kind of want to go through his story, but I also want to go through like some little tips and tricks that investors and realtors can use to make more money together. So welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me, Swan.
Yes, sir. Take some time and introduce yourself, okay?
Yeah, so I'm Kirby Graves. I'm, like Swan said, I'm a local real estate agent here in the Greensboro market. And I've been helping people buy and sell properties for about 3 or 4 years now. And I also am a real estate investor. So we focus on buying small portfolios of single family houses. And we've been doing that for about 2 years. And since then, we've grown our portfolio pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right. Tell us the number. How many?
Okay, yeah. So right now we're sitting at about 30 properties. Like we have a couple listed and
nice.
Under contract on a couple too. So about 30 properties.
Nice.
And what else did you ask me?
No, it's all good. Yeah. So about 30 rental properties, or just do you fix and flip, or how does that work?
Well, we're buying portfolios of properties, so it works a little bit different. Like sometimes when we're buying this portfolio, say 10 properties, like there's some ones in there that we like, some of them that we don't really like. So we're kind of doing this sort of a hybrid component where we're fixing and flipping some of the properties that we don't want to keep long term, and we'll sell those, retail. And then the properties that are in the locations that we like the most, we're putting them in our long-term portfolio that we're planning on holding indefinitely.
Very, very good. I love it. I love a little mixture of both. I always say you need quick checks, you need quick big checks, and you need consistent little small checks.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
I like to have them all going in and out at the same time.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we have a storage facility.
Do you really?
Yeah, we have a storage facility. It's up in Reedsville.
Yeah.
And we bought it literally with 3% occupancy. It's about 110 doors out there.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've had it, actually, I think today or tomorrow is like the 1 year anniversary of us purchasing it.
Let's go through this deal real quick before we get into this. So it's like 110 doors. How'd you find the deal?
Funny enough, just realtor connections with other realtors and networking with my other real estate agents. Yeah.
Okay. Now when you say networking, help me understand. Are you just like seeing them when you go to an open house, or are you like taking the extra time and effort and like going out to meet to market for deals that you want to buy?
Well, this particular deal actually came through like a Facebook group. So we have like Facebook groups that are other real estate agents, and we're talking on there about things that are going on with our clients. But every once in a while, somebody will put something up there, especially if it's like a big investor trying to sell a portfolio. They'll say, hey, my guy doesn't really want to list it on the market, but we're trying to talk through this, trying to get some offers going on it, because they don't want their tenants to be bothered and that sort of thing. So we found a deal through there, and through that agent, she brought us another deal, which happened to be the storage facility.
Very good. So, very good. I like it.
Yeah.
So like it's off market. So did she like send you details, or did she just say, hey, here's the address, let me know what's up, or how did that look?
Yeah. So the property itself is not in good condition. There was only three of the doors were being actually rented by somebody. So property wasn't very good. But she sent us the address. We went and looked at it. We were basically, what do you want for this thing? And the price that he told us was like right at the tax value of the property.
Yeah.
And we knew that, you know, once we got it fixed up, that we'd be able to rent it out pretty quickly. And the reason we knew that is because we checked the other storage facilities around to see, you know, is it easy to get space with them? And every single one of them had a waiting list.
Oh, nice.
So we knew that we'd be able to fill these up pretty quickly.
Very good, very good.
So yeah, we didn't negotiate a whole lot. We just went for his price, basically. So.
With the rehab though, like what does that look like with a storage unit? Because it's really just, you know, 4 walls and like some
steel
metal
and
doors.
Concrete.
Okay.
Steel and concrete, and that's the best part about the whole deal there, actually. But the biggest thing on the roll-up type door, so these doors actually like roll up like a Tootsie Roll type, or like a fruit roll-up type deal, right? And there's springs in there that makes that happen. Those springs get worn out, rusty, or what have you, and they just break. And there's costing us like $300 per door to fix up. So but other than that, like you said, there's nothing to fix up. You know, somebody dents the wall. Oh well, it's a piece of sheet metal.
All right, I like it. Hey, I'm gonna have to start looking for that. Okay, that's cool. So like, just give me a little insight. You don't have to give me too much if you don't like. But what does one of those units? There's 110 doors. So what does one of those units rent for?
So now keep in mind we're more rural than like Greensboro. So Greensboro prices are totally different than where we're at, which is like edge of Reedsville, like Brown Summit area. Yeah. But the 10 by 20s that we have right now, we're renting for $115 per month.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so for the whole facility, you know, we're generating about $9,000 a month right now.
So do you have to have somebody like full-time staff there, or does it, or you know, or do you just have kind of like a subcontractor that comes out of something? You know, how does that work?
Yeah, so we have a subcontractor VA, so a virtual assistant that's fielding all the phone calls for us. Helping people set up their online account. People can pay completely online. They don't have to write us checks. Actually, we don't accept checks. We only accept people if they're paying online, because that creates too much work for us. So we got the virtual assistant taking the calls, setting people up on their accounts, doing all that stuff. And then we have a landscaper. He'll go out there, and if we need to lock somebody out or something like that, he'll put the lock on there for us.
Nice. I like that. That's pretty sweet, man. Okay. Well, look, back to the story. I've never really looked at a storage unit deal, so I just always wondered what that looked like. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to like say this building needs this much in rehab. You know what I mean? And so that was like I'm like, well, what does it even cost? Like, really, like, what do you service? Because you don't have any plumbing.
Yeah, no plumbing. There is a little bit electrical because you need it for the cameras and stuff like that. Yeah. We have to have internet service out there for the cameras so we can check on it.
Now, do you have to have like boosters for the internet to make sure it spreads through the whole grounds, or?
The cameras are hardwired, but the internet is for us to be able to connect to it virtually.
Okay, very cool. Okay, I like it. See, I'm gonna give me a storage unit deal.
Yeah, definitely. You need to, man.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. Yeah. So just as a realtor, okay. When I got started in the business, you know, a lot of people was like, hey, you know, if a realtor has a deal, don't look at it. If a realtor calls you, they're not gonna know what you're talking about. You know, I don't know if people had that conversation with you, but I believe there's a lot of value that a realtor provides to my business. Right. You know, and can you just like kind of share, you know, if there's a new investor and he wanted to build a tribe of good people, you know, he needs a good attorney, you know, he might need a good contractor to kind of tell him, you know, what things are,
definitely.
You know, but what can a realtor do for an investor, you know, to bring a little value to that investor?
Well, first of all, I'll say that, you know, not all realtors are the same. So just like your contractors, whatever, you know, you need to really vet this person, make sure they're the right person to work with. I think a good realtor that you need to work with as an investor would be somebody who has investment properties themselves, can talk the lingo, they know what a cap rate is, they know what market rents versus the actual rents means. Because some, especially new real estate agents, even those small things talk about rental income, that just goes right over their head. Yeah. And
but why is that? They're like a realtor, so you know.
Yeah, that's because, you know, 95% of the people that they work with are not investors. You know, they're more concerned about what color the paint is, or if the bathroom tile looks nice, and that sort of thing. Where they don't really get the flip-flop of that situation where the crappier the house is, the better we like it as investors. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
So it's hard to say. I would say if your real estate agent isn't afraid of the cat pee smell, then you probably got a good one. You know, 'cause a lot of agents won't even want to walk in the house with you if it's a bad house, ugly house. So,
yeah, I love that.
yeah. So, but a good real estate agent that's works as an investor is going to have a property manager that they're either already using or trust for them to rely on for rent amounts, because you know how fast this market, like houses are selling fast. If the property manager doesn't get back to you for 3 days because that agent doesn't ever talk to them, and so they're not really up on their higher ranking of who they need to keep up with, then you're going to be slower. So like for people that work with me that are investors, like my property manager will text me back in like 5-10 minutes with the market rent value, that sort of thing. So people that are connected to other investor type vendors like property managers and maybe the clean out people and that sort of thing that can help you get connected with the contractors. Because I see like real estate agents for investors are a lot like the person you come to get connected with everybody else. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because
it almost sounds like boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. Yeah. Like I know a lot of the attorneys in town. I know a lot of the contractors in town, or painters, and guys that do that sort of thing. So I think it's important as an investor, especially if you're new to the market. Like you're not around that area a lot. You need to get connected with somebody who knows the other people.
For sure. I definitely agree with that, because there's so many variables that could go wrong. You can get the wrong rent. You can get the wrong contractor. You can get the wrong property manager. You could buy at the wrong price. So you definitely got to have somebody to help you gel all of that together. Honestly, these days I typically refer it to my realtor or my contractor first, and I let them tell me something before I guess. Because I think as an investor, we always go in like we know what we're talking about. Oh, it needs $50,000 worth of rehab. Like we actually know, like we're doing the work, but we really don't. So I
turns into 90,000 really quick.
Real quick. One water issue. And I'm grateful for a good team. So like, how can we help realtors? I mean, because that's what we're trying to bridge the gap. Like we're not just on different sides of the game. We're all playing the game together.
Right, exactly. And that's the difficult part. As a real estate agent working with an investor, if you're looking at $80,000 houses, there's just not a whole lot for me to make on that deal to help you in this situation. So I think it's really important, and the investors that I work with that, we have the best relationship, they're doing a lot of the work ahead of time, sort of on their own, to figure out, is this property actually viable?
What do you mean? So help me understand, okay? Help the viewers understand. So on $80,000, like what do you mean you're not getting paid a lot? Because $80,000 to a new investor seems like that's more expensive than most cars and any other commodity that you would buy. So it would seem like you as the realtor would get paid more money than everybody else in other commodities. So what do you mean?
Right. So typically a real estate agent's probably going to make between 2.5-3% of the purchase price of the property and the commission. So to make the number simple, a $100,000 house, as a real estate agent, my commission will be $3,000. But keep in mind, I have to split that with my broker.
Yeah.
Who takes their portion of it, which could be another 30% of that. So my $3,000 just went to say $2,400 then.
Yeah.
All right. Then on top of that, I have to pay my dues, insurance, car gas, all that sort of thing. And especially in today's market where it might take us offering on say 20-25 houses before we ever get you under contract. So that's me driving around to 20 houses. And if the house is only $80,000, you know what I mean? And I just spent 3 months pouring gas into my car for the $2,500 or whatever.
That's tough.
It's tough. So, really got to understand what areas you want to be in so that it makes it easier for them to focus in on a certain area or a certain price point. What is your niche? Make sure you communicate that to your agent really well, so they don't spend time looking at houses that you don't want to buy, and they don't send you houses that you don't want to buy, and then they're not running around chasing their tail to help you out.
Yeah,
so.
it seemed like they got to be ready. Like what does a ready investor look like?
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because if you're working with me, I'm gonna make sure that you're pre-approved or you have the cash to purchase a property, and that means that you've already gone to the bank, got your loan officer, banker, or whoever to approve you for a loan up to a certain amount. Maybe they'll let you go up to $150,000. Once we get that, then I'm gonna set you up on a search, and that search is gonna bring you all the houses in the MLS that are in your criteria.
Okay. Give me and just for investors, because I don't want to lead people astray, because some people like, oh, let me search how many bedrooms it is. Let me search how many baths. What do you think a good search is on the MLS? Like a good filter, right? That they can automate, that you can automate for them and send them. What's a good good filter, a good search for them? They're going to be able to find distressed properties or sellers who might be somewhat motivated or be able to buy with some kind of equity.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be difficult to find distressed properties on the MLS that aren't overpriced right now.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest opportunity in finding homes on the MLS right now is through your rental increases.
Yeah.
So find a house that's, say it's the $100,000 house, but the guy's had the same tenant in there for the past 20 years, so he's only paying them $400 a month. I think that's where the real opportunity is for investors on buying properties that are listed on the MLS. Is like, hey, I can go buy this property, and then now, after a couple small repairs or just cosmetic fixes, I can get the rent up to $1,200 a month.
Very good. Yeah, very good. I love it.
Yeah.
I like the been sitting on the market maybe for like 150 days. Anything sitting on the market for 150 days right now? What's the average days on market right now?
Average days on the market right now, believe it or not, is only 5 days on the market.
5 days. Yeah. Okay. So if a house has been sitting on the market, for 30 days, why is that?
It's overpriced.
It's overpriced.
Yep, that's the only answer to that question. Right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
It doesn't have anything to do with the repairs. It's all about price.
Okay. Now, when we see a property that's listed on the MLS, and they're at 30 days, they're at 60 days, they're at 90, we know that they're overpriced. What can we do, as an investor, to influence the realtor or the seller? Or is there anything we can do?
That's a good
question. Do we stray away from that, or do we put in an offer, or what do we do?
I would say, first of all, by the time it's been on the market for 90 days, that seller's already seen some lowball offers.
Yeah.
So it's really about figuring out if they are motivated to sell, because some of these sellers are just waiting for this market to take this property from them at whatever ridiculous price that they think it's worth.
Yeah.
So I would say, you need to figure out if they're even motivated, see if it's worth your time, but you need to ask them also the question, like, what else is important to them other than price? Because we see you've had it on the market for so long, I'm sure they're paying the bills over there, I'm sure they're cutting the lawn, that sort of thing. So, if they want to get it sold, let's make a deal.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to be open to trying to communicate what that seller wants. You know what I mean? Because a lot of listing agents don't really communicate.
Agreed.
They don't really communicate, what their seller wants. You know what I mean?
No, I get that problem all the time with MLS offers. I mean, typically it's so cut and dry with the conversation. I have to submit an offer with a high due diligence just to get some kind of feedback. It's like, I'll submit this offer with, $20,000 due diligence, and then finally they'll come back with information. Like they're short, they don't have any information, but they see the big non-refundable deposit, and then it's like, they actually go to the seller and start asking questions.
Yeah, and you got to realize too that a lot of agents in the market right now aren't experienced in their property being sitting for a while, so they're not doing what it takes to get that property sold. You know what I mean? They're they're just hoping that somebody else is going to come in and offer instead of trying to make the deals with the people who are actually interested.
Yeah. Hey, that's a tip number one right there. That's a tip. That's a tip because some agents don't know how to sell.
Yeah.
Some agents don't know how to persuade or what they could do. To put it back at the top. Dropping your price by $1 gets you back at the top of the search.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. They don't really know that. So that's funny that you bring that up.
Yeah. So. There's a lot of that going on right now because it's just so easy to throw something on and get it sold. So
yeah. So question: as an investor, do I really? I mean, with the market being the way it is there anything I could do to say, hey, Mr. Realtor, this is why you should work with me, or hey, this is any kind of value that that I can bring to you, or the market's so crazy it doesn't even matter?
I would say money talks, obviously. So if you find an agent that's just not giving you the time of day, but you think that they are the person to work for you, consider offering them like a retainer fee.
Yeah.
You hear about this with attorneys all the time, but you don't necessarily hear about it with real estate agents, though it's part of pretty much any agency agreement is that you can give them a retainer fee. So offer them $500 or offer them $1,000 that will get credit to you at closing.
Right.
But it gives them a little bit of money up front, shows them that you have skin in the game.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, this person's serious. Right. Because as a real estate agent, I get calls from people all the time that say they're investors, but in reality, we know that they haven't ever invested in a property before.
Right.
So they can spend a lot of our time, and that's why there's a lot of agents that are hesitant to work with investors.
Yep, I love it.
They've been burned.
Yep, man, I love it. That's actually really, that's a gem right there. That's a gem.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably I guess it was maybe like 3 years ago. I had never really did any kind of work with realtors, but then I don't know what happened, but I started adding realtors to my buyers list. Right, I just started like flooding it. I was like paying for like a NC realtors list, and I took all the Greensboro realtors and I put it on my buyers list, and I start sending out my deals to realtors.
Yeah.
Now, it worked like a charm because literally I had the market's attention. Like
sure.
I like commanded everybody's attention because they was like, oh, who's this guy? And so, but they didn't know about assignments. They didn't know about assignments. Now, some people would say, hey, this is a scam. Well, you don't own the property. How do we educate the realtor? Because most of the time, people have egos, whether they're, female or male, they have egos. We're in a very aggressive business. So, how do we educate the realtor to say, hey, this is what we're doing so it makes sense? And then, what can we do to help them realize this is a benefit to them, us assigning our deals to their buyers or them bringing a buyer? Because most of them, they're like, well, hey, I need to use a state contract, or hey, I need to get paid a percentage. What can we do to work with those people and through that process?
Well, I'd first ask probably, what is your experience working with a wholesaler, and try to figure out where they're at. That way you kind of know who you're talking to, because some agents have done a lot of deals with wholesalers. Other agents, they've never even heard of it before. To talk to another agent, you really have to let them know that you have their interest and their seller's interest in mind when presenting this offer or presenting the property or whatever you're talking to them about. Make sure that they, try to get them to understand that, it isn't a scam, that you care about your reputation, and that, and that's a difficult conversation to have.
It is, yeah.
It's a really difficult conversation to have. I don't know if I have a whole lot of insight to say about that, because
it's tough. It's tough, but that's like a real live conversation. Like literally, it happens, especially to the new person that doesn't know how to explain the process. Because it's like, oh well, you don't even know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So what I've done in the past, is number one, I'll let them come to me or wherever I am. At the time, I have an office, so I have them come to my office so they can meet me, see that I'm real. And then I've also say, hey, look, I can pay you, or your buyer can pay you, or we both can pay you. You choose. I don't care if you get paid 1 time or 2 times, but if I get the deal that I want, you get paid, your buyer gets paid, right? We all win.
Yeah.
Now, in my opinion, the biggest benefit to a realtor, bringing buyers to my deals is they get paid in 2 weeks. Versus, like you said, they're driving around 3-4 times, 5-6 months, right? But with me, they get paid in 2 weeks. Yeah. So I think it's important that, as a new investor and even as a realtor, that we kind of learn what each other are going through, because, we're not, I know I wasn't thinking like, well, this realtor has to spend 6 months with a person before they get paid. I didn't think about that. Yeah. And I'm sure they didn't think about,
I actually think it's a really big misconception that people think that real estate agents get paid some kind of salary.
Yeah.
Like clients come to me all the time. They're like, oh, I know you got paid for this. I'm like, no, I get paid when the house closes. And so if,
Yeah. So if you don't close, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
Right. And so
just like an investor,
Right. Yeah. Just like an investor. Yeah. We have a lot in common. We really do. And I appreciate it because me personally, I love working with realtors. Like every deal that I do, whether I'm raising money or assigning it, I always get comps from my realtor. Okay. Yeah. Like with every deal, when I'm raising money in particular, the realtor that sends me comps, I'm having them listed. Right. Whenever I'm doing like a rehab project, I'll let them know, hey, I'm 80% done with my rehab. What can I do in here at this point? That people in the market are liking. Yeah. So on one that we just did on Eastwood, we did an accent wall. I thought it was a waste, but she said, hey, everybody's doing gray. Yeah. It's fine to do the gray. Throw in one accent wall. It's gonna make your pictures look different, and you're gonna get more showings.
Yeah.
And surely enough, we had like 25 showings in one day, and we sold that, which was right behind the Willow, by the way. We sold it for $150.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, a 3-1, and it did really good.
Shoot, we should have raised the price on ours.
Yeah. Well, heck yeah, man. Hey, I really appreciate you. Just coming to us today, and let everybody know how they can find you and how they can connect with you, so that way we can do business together. Okay.
All right, cool. So you guys can follow me on Instagram, Kirby at Kirby _ real estate advisor. So at Kirby _ real estate advisor on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook and all the other social media platforms as well. You can give me a call at 336-740-5535. Feel free to reach out to me if you want comps, if you're in this local market, or if you want to get connected to another real estate agent in another market, I can help with that too.
And do you have a link to your fund just in case you guys want to invest? Because I know that storage unit thing, not a lot of people are doing that, so that's awesome.
Yeah, so I do have a syndication fund. You need to reach out to me directly to do that, because we're not like we're a 506B, which means we can take unaccredited investors, but that means we have to have a personal relationship first. So we have to build a relationship and talk about some investing and things like that. See if it's a right fit. But
for sure, I'm gonna drop his.
Reach out.
Yep, I'm gonna drop his Instagram, and I'm gonna drop his phone number in the chat below.
Yeah, and get my email too.
And I'll get your email as well, so that way you can reach out to him, because I think that's important, because a lot of people don't have the time to do this actively.
Sure.
So they use guys like us so they can participate and pretty much outperform the inflation, because it's crazy right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy right now. Hey, man, I appreciate your time. Okay.
Yeah, and, appreciate you, Swan.
Yeah, and remember, you guys don't need all 3 to do a deal. You just need 2 to do you. Have an amazing day. Peace.